And I'm just wondering, with what you're talking about, IED requirements, from an industry perspective, do you think there's enough manufacturing capacity to deliver the level of upgrade work that it sounds like is going to be necessary into the future?
If I mean, we see a chunk of the what the water sector is asking for. We don't see all of it. If everything was to come in that we've been advising on and providing proposals for, it would be a real struggle because everybody seems to be sort of sitting on it at the moment, and they may turn around all at the same time and go, right, we want it now, which simply isn't going to be feasible. It just simply isn't going to be feasible. So our hope is that there are a couple of organisations and a couple of companies, water companies, that will turn around and go, right, let's get started and get in early, because then we can start to spread out the amount of work that needs to be done, because it will be significant potentially. And it will be a combination of brand new installations and upgrades to installations. So, I mean, at ERG, we're very well placed for that sort of thing. With our own maintenance department that looks after three water companies in the framework. We're very used to dealing with upgrades as required and doing that sort of work. But yeah, we're similarly well situated for the new OCUs. Still going to be much of a struggle, but the fact that ERG now also has expanded and now also includes our sister company, ERG High Grade, which are based up in Rugby. We have two manufacturing facilities to allow us to try and cope with the onslaught, shall we say.
Yeah. And without wishing to sort of alarm people, but even with those UK-based fabrication plants that you alluded to, how quickly can lead times stretch if multiple projects land? I suppose. So what I'm saying is, what would be the sort of worst scenario for you and others, if you like?
I mean, the worst scenario would be having to turn away work because we simply can't do it within the timescales. I think the original deadline for, or the what do they call it? The EA had a compliance requirement that backstop that was actually April 2025. But I think the water companies had discussions with the EA and advised that, you know, the amount of work required, it wasn't feasible really to try and get it done within those sort of timescales. So I think the intention is that there will be a phased delivery of these solutions over the AMP8 period, so up to 2030. But because there's quite a significant amount of work, it would be great to get started. I think we're all sitting, we're waiting with bated breath for the onslaught, and it would be good to get started on trying to implement some of these changes that have to happen. And I think we're in a great situation to be able to deliver on much of it, but it needs to be done in an organised fashion. And yeah, well, I think we'll have to wait and see what happens, and then try and work out the best way of trying to deal with it as it does. So
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, beyond the vessels themselves, are you seeing any other pressures in the supply chain around, I don't know, controls, instrumentation, or integration, or is that all okay?
we're seeing it throughout the supply chain potentially, because when we're being asked for budget ideas of how much it's going to cost for improving this one or doing that to that one, or whatever the case may be, we're also contacting all our suppliers, whether those be fan manufacturers or control panel suppliers, and they're also feeling the same pressures. There's significant amount of work associated with the increased level of monitoring that they are requesting on these sites. Probably means that nearly all control panels will either need to be modified or replaced in order to allow for this sort of work, which means there's actually a fair chunk of of business from that end of things as well. And there's always, unfortunately, relatively long lead times when it comes to the control side of things. So the sooner we can get involved and we can be assisting at the front end to meet these challenges, the better we can prepare for these sort of things as well. So
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And perhaps just in finishing, looking ahead, I mean, are there aspects of odor and off-gas treatment? I mean, you obviously referenced methane already, but are there any others that current solutions still don't adequately address, or is, I say, methane the main one, or are there other things you think that are still
methane is
out
the
there?
main one, and the only real proven method of dealing with methane at the moment is by combustion, by putting it through a thermal oxidizer. Now, ERG, we have our own range of regenerative thermal oxidizers and traditional thermal oxidizers, and that is a solution that we think could be utilized in some of these applications. The difficulty is that really high concentrations of methane are dealt with effectively through those types of systems. When the concentrations are only 100, 200 milligrams per meter cubed, that's actually a relatively low level of methane for treatment in that type of application. We're also investigating, and we're at the early stages of organising some lab trials for a new technology, which I don't want to go into too much yet, letting too much out of the bag. But if that proves to be show some early signs of actually that working, that could be an alternative way of trying to deal with methane, which I don't think there's an alternative solution out there other than thermal oxidation at the moment. What we are seeing is that some companies are trying to direct that additional methane back into their own on-site combustion, so maybe through their CHP engines or things like that. But the gases that we're trying to deal with only have a relatively small amount of methane in them, so it's not great quality for using for that purpose. But yes, it remains a unresolved challenge, but we're working quietly in the background trying to find a solution. And we'll probably come back and talk to you again, Phil, when we have something far more exciting to
Yeah, I know you
provide.
you won't sort of spill the beans now, but are you able to even sort of hint at a time frame where you're sort of hoping that you might be able to
we should have the costs associated with running those lab trials probably within the next couple of months, and we'll hopefully be getting the buy-in from let's say people that would invest to allow us to proceed with those trials at this early stage. So hopefully we'll be getting some good feedback shortly. But all of these things take time. So when you talk to the academic institutions that will be helping in this scenario, we are talking year-long timescales for running these trials, because it's very difficult to get them to employ people to actually run these trials and do the things that are required for shorter periods, unfortunately. So we're just clarifying a few of those final bits, but so there's things in the works, but it's unfortunately a little bit too early to say exactly what and where we're going to be. But I would hope that in 6 to 9 months we'll have an idea of the sort of information that we would be getting out of these sort of things. So
No, that's great. And as you say, we can meet again then and find out what that is. But at least for now, David, it's been great to chat, and thank you for sharing some great insights into what's going on when it comes to odor control. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Phil. Thank you. Bye-bye.